And we are back for the Season 6 Unserious Q&A. Why hasn't Sam worked out how to teleport? It took them 11 episodes to get from the Wall to Old Town, and they sailed most of the way. Well, I think there may be some sort of link between Sam's inability to lose weight, Gilly's baby's inability to age, and their inability to get across the world quickly. It may be that Sam has a metabolism that's so slow that he can't burn off calories, but his metabolism also creates a rift in the space-time continuum. This rift has slowed the aging of baby Eamon and made their trip to Old Town take forever. It may also explain a huge contradiction with Sam's dad. As we saw from the dinner scene, Sam's dad is not anywhere close to being as scary and honor-obsessed as Sam described in Season 1. Apparently he's completely okay with his daughter and wife talking back to him and the stealing of his family's sword, yet he's willing to murder his son for the reputation of his house. I think it's far more likely that Randall saw Sam as a danger to the fabric of space-time and wanted him to get as far away from Horn Hill as possible. Is Ghost in the TV show an actual ghost? Like, does he turn invisible to save the runners money on special effects, but he's still actually there in the scenes? I think you're 100% correct on this. Not only does Ghost's ability to turn invisible explain where he was, but it also explains everything else going on in the North. Keep in mind, the Northern Lords have no reason to crown Jon Snow king in the North. Jon didn't recruit anyone. Tormund, Davos, and Sansa did that. And Jon actually messed up the battle plans, nearly killing everyone. Plus, the Knights of the Vale shouldn't care about Jon at all. Ghost's ability to turn invisible would put fear in the hearts of every Northern and Vale lord. Knowing that at any time an invisible direwolf can enter your castle and tear your neck out is pretty intimidating. It's really the only explanation for Jon's sudden ascent to power. Do you think Tommen is living a second life in Sir Pounce and is scheming with Balerion behind the scenes? I think this is highly likely. It seems that the Lannisters do have some degree of telepathy. Cersei, when she was young, did have an experience where she was able to somewhat tame a lion and pet it. And I am curious about the Lannister descent from red-haired Rohan Weber from the Sword and Sword. We should keep an eye out for this cat pack as a parallel to Nymeria's wolf pack that has not yet appeared in the show. However, rather than going around eating people like the wolf pack, I imagine Tommen Sir Pounce's endgame is to be snuggled with. Does this mean that the High Sparrow equals Aryan Brightflame? Did he try to transform himself into a giant sparrow? I think that explanation does make more sense than the High Sparrow plan we saw on screen. But that does raise a bigger question of whether or not the High Sparrow actually succeeded. A giant sparrow could still be a pretty darn small bird, so we will have to keep our eye out for birds in the background. Given that Maester Pycelle was loyal to Cersei Lannister and to Lannisters in general, why did Cersei have him killed? If she wanted him removed, couldn't she have simply asked for his resignation and have another maester from the Citadel sent to advise her? This is all true, but I think you're forgetting the crucially important scene where Pycelle farts. After already proving himself a liability to stink up the small council, there's just no way that Cersei would allow him to live. Now yes, she could send him back to the Citadel, but then she would just be pushing that problem back on the other maesters. Killing Pycelle was not just about improving King's Landing, it was about improving the Seven Kingdoms. What makes some book readers constantly act like emo chicks on their period when it comes to the show? I've read the books only twice and didn't get my emo chick period. Is something wrong with me? Well, you have to remember that a book reader's period is a very special time in one's life, and all of us develop at different rates, so you definitely shouldn't think that anything's wrong with you. Your time will come eventually. I recommend an Ice and Fire book called Are You There, R'hllor? It's Me, Melanie. Do you think Aria is going to gain powers to add to her being Wolverine? Then she could kill the mountain and level up again to gain Cyclops' eye beams too. Well, right now we know Aria is already Wolverine for regeneration, Nightcrawler for teleportation, Daredevil for sonar, Pyro for the ability to light and extinguish candles mysteriously, Longshot for luck, and Mystique for face changing. Oh yeah, and Hot Pie for baking abilities. I could definitely see eye beams in her future, or perhaps a mastery of magnetism. You have to remember that David Benioff did write X-Men Origins Wolverine, where Deadpool was being used to collect mutant powers, so this sort of thing would be right up his alley. I don't get the new X-Men continuity. How is Wolverine the younger sister of Sophie Turner's character, yet Wolverine is clearly a hunky middle-aged man? You see, Game of Thrones and X-Men exist in the same universe, just at different times. It was already established in X-Men Origins Wolverine that Wolverine is essentially immortal. Aria is in fact a young Hugh Jackman before transitioning. Jean Grey just happens to look like Sansa, which explains Arya/Hugh Jackman/Wolverine's obsession with Jean Grey. Who had the best reaction face while dying this season? I would say that would be a four-way tie between the Blackfish, the Waif, Great John Umber, and Harold Karstark. On a scale of 1 to Lannister, how weird would sex between Jon and Dany be? Well, we kind of know exactly how this would go. Jon would go down south because that's Jon Snow's specialty, and there he would find the 100 STDs that Dany caught from Daario. Do you actually answer people's questions, or do you just make up your own questions to answer? I've seen very few questions that you answer actually show up in the comments section anywhere. And the questions you answer only seem to be on topics that you have something big to say about. Don't get me wrong, Preston, you're still my boy and I love you, but I'm a wee bit suspicious that you just create some of your own questions just to talk about whatever you want to talk about. They're all fake. All of them. Will Daenerys' fleet accidentally kill Gendry by colliding with his rowboat? I'm pretty sure that Gendry is happily married to Jiqui and raising children on Cracklaw Point. Are the 7 safe spaces now doomed to matriarchy to appease the third-generation hyper-feminists with iconic queens such as Cersei, Yara, Dany, Aria, and possibly Sansa? You know, I've gotten a lot of messages from women, and almost all of them say, "Thank you, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff. Thank you." Portraying female empowerment as the violent slaughter of family members, the killing of quote-unquote weak men, and the burning down of religious centers is exactly what they wanted. Aria Sand might as well be Susan B. Anthony. Do you think it was a goat or a ram, Preston? I feel that the remainder of the series rests on this question, yet burnt bones prove nothing. I think we have to be open to the possibility that this was in fact a goat. The real question is, why would Jorah lie about this? Can Daario not be trusted around goats? And if he can't be trusted around goats, why can he be trusted around rams? Does Daario have a very specific goat fetish? This is significant as Daario was left in charge of Slaver's Bay. He now literally has dominion over hundreds of thousands of goats. And he's been left lonely and alone. Is it just me, or that scene where everyone declared John King in the North remind you of a fucked up episode of The Smurfs? A bunch of dudes in one room and 2 females, one being a strong tomboyish child? Yeah, the whole scene did give off that vibe. Hefty Smurf was in the middle of complaining about Wild Smurf, and then out of nowhere, Sassette wants Clumsy Smurf to be the new Papa Smurf, even though Smurfette was clearly in line and was responsible for defeating Gargamel. All Vanity Smurf could do was look on as everyone yelled Smurf and the Smurf. Why didn't Ramsay just take out the Snow army with 20 good men? Well, you have to remember that Sir 20 of House Goodman is only one man, and as it turns out, he wasn't there. He was the missing Bolton man who disappeared with the 2 dogs after Brienne rescued Sansa. He then built a boat with his bare hands and sailed Theon to the Iron Isles. And while he was there, he convinced everyone that kinslaying is no big thing. And this of course allowed Euron to win the Kingsmoot. He then sailed Theon and Yara to Slaver's Bay at lightning speed, and he's currently transitioning Slaver's Bay to democracy, which he described as, quote, "a piece of cake, I should have it done by mid-afternoon," unquote. What was the point of Jon's death/resurrection, the most anticipated twist in the show thus far, if Jon wasn't changed at all? Well, there have been a few very significant changes to Jon Snow. First of all, he has a new hairdo. Second, his pubic hair has been shaved. Third, despite having less body hair, he is warmer and no longer needs his big fluffy cloak. Fourth, because he doesn't have his big fluffy cloak, he can't hide bacon in it, which is why his wolf doesn't seem to like him anymore. Fifth, without the smell of bacon overwhelming it, his natural pheromones can now be smelled, attracting smugglers to him. Are the sand snakes the only people in Dorne now? Is the population of Dorne just 4 people? Is the palace the entirety of Dorne? 4 people? No. The city of Dorne actually has no people. Not since the gas leak. The sand snakes are only hallucinations of people that travel there. They don't actually exist. Now you may ask, who killed Trystane then? But again, he doesn't exist either. He's a mere figment of Jaime's mind. And Myrcella? Well, she died from the gas leak. And what about Oberyn? Well, the gas leak hadn't started yet. You see, Oberyn was in charge of gas maintenance. With him dead, everything went to pot. Does Daenerys have white pussy hair? Wait a minute. Daenerys is a girl? Fuck, I thought Daenerys was a boy's name. I have to rethink this whole series. Davos talked about demons that took residence in Stannis' head. What did he mean by this? Demons? No, I think he meant daemons, as in Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince. Where's the Iron Bank reclaiming their debt the Crown owes them? Or did that get forgotten in Season 4? Forgotten? Don't you remember that Mace Tyrell goes to Braavos in Season 5 and sings that song?
Skill, anyone can learn it. So give me a kiss by the long canal, and give me 2 kisses in Salty Town, for we're going to die tomorrow. The beheaded beggar, the king with his crown.
I mean, the debt should be completely forgiven after that. What was the worst line this season? Can it hold its own against bad pussy in a battle of awfulness? Well, there were some really genius lines this season, almost all said by Bronn. You're the one with the magic cock. If we weren't friends, we'd be fucking you in the ass right now. She wants your golden fingers up her twat. But I think the best line might come from Tala Tarly when she was talking to Gilly. She said, "I think our father could learn a thing or two from your father." It was a very subtle joke in which Tala is meaning to say that her father should be more open-minded, but accidentally says that her father should learn how to rape her. How can we save Jon from incest? So many fans want him married to his cousin Sansa or to his aunt Daenerys. Well, I've been pushing Jon and Ed forever. Hashtag Snullerus. Snowlerus. 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 Fuck it, that's too hard to say. Snowlet. Do you hope, as I do, that when Jon and Dany get married, Jon will be really scared of the thought of babies and have nightmares of multiplying babies? And then Ghost will marry a dragon and they will have wolf-dragon hybrid babies who will fly all over the place and sneeze smoke and be super cute? I suppose Ghost with an Eddie Murphy accent would work out.
What are you doing?
I would think of all people you would recognize a wall when you see one.
Well, yeah.
See, that's your half and this is my half.
Oh, your half.
Yes, my half. I did half the work, I get half the booty. Now hand me that big old rock, the one that looks like your head. Hey, come back here. I'm not through with you yet.
Well, I'm through with you.
You know, with you, it's always me. Well, guess what? Now it's my turn. So you just shut up and pay attention. You are mean to me. You insult me and you don't appreciate anything that I do. You're always pushing me around or pushing me away.
Oh, yeah? Well, if I treated you so bad, how come you came back?
Because that's what friends do. They forgive each other.
Any chance to see Stannis in Season 7, or are there no more return tickets left after the Hound? Well, I was wrong about Stannis. He didn't come in and conquer Winterfell after all. After being abandoned by his army and the Red Woman, he instead took his infinite Iron Bank funds and went to retire in Qarth with his new Red Woman, Quaithe. And that's all for now. See you guys at the full season review, and then we can finally be done with Season 6.